We are now less than 45 days from April Fool's Day. What long-con pranks should be started around now? My roommate would get up and steal the shower as soon as he heard my alarm go off. 6 weeks later, I had him waking up to shower at 4:30. I would just turn off my Pavlovian alarm and go back to sleep for another 3 hours waiting for the real alarm. One April Fool's Day I got a text from a wrong number. It happens, but he was nice so we kept talking from time to time. His name was Jeff. Talked about video games, music. I feel like I made a really great friend. I told all my friends about it. Lasted a few weeks then stopped. Fast forward to the following April Fools and Jeff texted me. I was like, oh shit, what's up man? We texted a bit when finally my friends broke down and said, dude, Jeff has been us the whole time. We just forgot to tell you last year. Edit. I'm so glad you guys enjoyed this. Def take the idea and roll with it. To answer a few questions. This was like 10 years ago. IIRC he opened up with something like congrats on the wedding, bro. I notified him he had the wrong number but he kept the conversation going somehow and I went along with it, enjoying every minute. The number was not an area code I recognized, but later learned my friends generated a fake number using some kind of software. I was kind of miffed at first but in the end thought it was hilarious. To this day I still miss Jeff and hope he's living a happy, non-existent life. It's my birthday and I've never been pranked on April 1st. However, I did prank my 8th grade teacher and got into a lot of trouble. He was this annoying too cool for his job type, said he knew the police band not uniforms. Anyhow he would always walk around and around the classroom pontificating on whatever and when he'd pass by his desk he would always step in his trash can to crush the papers. I filled the trash can 3/4 with water and topped it off with scrunched up paper. Worked beautifully and I spent the rest of the day on the hallway waiting to be told if I was suspended or not. Don't know if you can pull this off, but it was of the funnier prank stories I heard on Click and Clack, Car Talk. Some guys worked with another guy who was obsessed with his car's gas mileage, so the coworkers slowly started adding gas to his tank without the owner knowing it. Like they'd add 2 cups a day for a week, then the next week, they'd add 3 cups a day, etc. Since the guy was so obsessed, he thought his car was getting better and better gas mileage and was bragging to everyone in the office. Then the guys slowly started to reverse the process. The guy freaked out, everyone laughed. The nameplates at my office job have paper inserts with the cube dweller's name. I am going to print out a bunch of one person's name in smaller fonts, like increments of 0.25. I'm going to start replacing with smaller fonts each day starting March 1. I know it's not super crazy, but should be fun. I work with a group of 5 to 6 guys. I plan on separately swearing each of them to secrecy, then revealing that one of their coworkers is planning a wicked April Fool's Day gag on them and that we should work to plan an even better one against this schemer. If I do it right, I'll have my coworkers conniving to destroy one another and sit back and watch it all unfold. As long as they don't catch on. Edit. Thank you for the gold. Let me also add that I'm a good sport and fully expect to fail at this. However, the epic win that would come from this actually working is a story I'll be able to tell forever. If anyone knows this MASH episode, I'd love to see it. Maybe I can get a pointer or two. Lastly, I can't start too early or they'll figure it out for sure. I'm thinking 2 weeks might be ideal to start stirring up trouble. Update. Unfortunately this didn't work, but I'm not giving up on it. Mostly, I blame timing. I work in Cleveland and 2 of the 5 guys I was targeting are going to the Indians' home opener and took off the entire day. They were the most likely to buy into the idea. With them out of the picture, I had to try convincing the remaining, more introverted personalities that other introverts were out to get them. I tested the waters, but no one was taking the bait. I'll use this learning experience to prepare for next year. Thanks for all the interest and sorry I don't have a better result for you. Same as I do the rest of the year. Turn up at work and try to convince people I'm competent and hard-working. It's going to be hilarious when they eventually find out I'm neither. My great-grandpa got his kids to start cracking hard-boiled eggs on their foreheads. Then, on April 1st, he gave my great-uncle a raw egg. Edit. Thanks for the silver. My wife and son teamed up on me for this one a couple years ago. Drove me nuts. For weeks leading up to April 1st, one or the other would report that there was a leak in our bathroom. I'm the default handyman, so I'd check it out, and sure enough, there'd be a mysterious puddle of water on the floor. Check the walls, ceiling, no moisture. Check the tub, the shower, no drips. Kept happening week after week, and I could not figure out what the hell was going on. April 1st comes, kid comes in and says, "I figured it out. I found the leak." I follow him to the bathroom where he proudly points to one of these on the floor. When I was in high school, I brought a bag of garlic-flavored jelly beans to school to prank my friends on April Fools. Instead, a classmate grabbed them out of my bag during group work. It was a school with under 100 students, so everyone knew I brought extra treats, and I hear some odd shouting from across the room. Said classmates then handed them off to our teacher to try, without saying why, and I unintentionally pranked my entire year. So I recommend putting out candy on your desk, and day of, refill it with shocking flavors. Jelly Belly has oodles of odd and uncomfortable flavors. I started dating my now wife 20 years ago this April 1st. I'm almost ready to say April Fools. More or less long con, but I ordered a roll of for rectal use only stickers, and I plan on covering all my sister's belongings with them. Assess your diet, get exercising, drink more water, and on 31st March go on a shopping spree. Then on 1st April get dressed, look stunning, feel better. Everyone will be surprised, you'll get compliments, and you can take it as the first day of the rest of your life. Best prank ever. Oh man, I have 500 bouncy balls at home, I should start doing stuff with them. I found out I was pregnant on March 31st about 3 years ago. My, now, husband sent me the "when she's still pregnant on April 2nd" meme. Start buying different light bulbs for every light in your house. If you've got soft light, buy the sunlight bulbs. If you've got the sunlight bulbs, go with the soft light bulbs. Install all of them overnight going into April Fool's Day. Act like nothing has changed. For bonus points, continue swapping them once every few days and see how long you can keep it going. It's like electric gaslighting. Gaslighting 2. Electric Boogaloo. Slowly move your friend's desk 1 inch a day or every other day. Here's how I convinced a friend his house was haunted. Rain-X is the stuff you put on your windshield to keep it from fogging up. Instead, use it to write on your friend's bathroom mirror various, haunting, phrases. They go into the bathroom, lock the door, get in the shower, and come out to find someone has seemingly written on their bathroom mirror while they thought they were alone. Get out, help me, something more personal, or whatever you like. Every time you want to change the message, just use some dish soap and then glass cleaner. Start learning a foreign language. On April Fool's Day, pass out and wake up only speaking said language. You're going to need a lot more time to pull this one off. If you start now, you might be able to make it work next year. In college, a bunch of students got together with local police and staged a murder crime scene in a professor's office. Fake blood, yellow crime tape, the police taking statements and questioning the professor on his whereabouts during the time of the killing. It took a lot of planning ahead of time. Totally got him. Was talked about for many years after. Bring in donuts, cream and jelly filled consistently. Once to twice a week. On April Fool's Day, make sure it's filled with creamed, jellied vegetables. Or, for a last-minute prank, just bring in donuts on April Fool's Day and make a big deal about it. OOHH, I brought in some super tasty treats today, wink wink, and try to convince people to have them. The joke is they are just regular donuts and there is nothing wrong with them. This is more of a day of situation, but it's too good not to share. At my work we clock in by punching in our employee number. Last year one of my coworkers placed a sign on the time clock that read, "The time clock has been updated for voice activation. Please state your full name followed by, clocking in, out." All day I just heard people yelling at the time clock trying to clock in. It was incredible. My manager was in on it too, so no one was made late because of it. Just good clean fun. A while back I got an app that could send an error message to a computer with customized text. For a few weeks I would send sporadic messages like monitor error 1003, monitor sync error, etc. On April Fool's Day I sent the message monitor radiation shield has failed. Please step back 5 feet. If they play a lot of video games, slowly turn up, or down, the sensitivity on their controllers until April 1st, then turn it back suddenly. ETA I'm getting a lot of nerds real riled up here, to which I say, get good. I actually did this to my friend once. It was over the course of a year, starting on one April Fool's and ending the next. He used a cheap ball mouse, which uses a ball instead of a laser to track movement. So, every day, I twiddled with the mouse to make it a little less touchy. He never noticed. I kept it up for a year. Then, on April Fool's Day, I reset his mouse. Only I turned the sensitivity up all the way. He lost 12 consecutive matches of Rainbow Six Siege and he still has no idea why. Edit. This post is not BS. My friend really is an idiot. Edit. This post kinda blew up. Like his heckin' maestro when he couldn't figure out what was happening. If they play a lot of video games they'll know something is off the second that you change the sensitivity. This didn't happen for April Fools, but I did recently have a very long con that worked better than planned. My friend got me with a glitter bomb one time, which she watched me open in my bedroom, right next to my bed. I still found glitter 3 years later when I moved apartments. The bitch. When it happened, I knew she would be wary of a counterattack, so I waited. And I decided not to just wait, but to long con her. I knew she liked candles, so I went for simplicity. I got her a candle that smelled great at first, but eventually burned down to smell awful. Not after an hour, mind you, but after quite a bit of it burned off, giving a very pleasant apple pie scent. Months went by, and I would see it at her place. Burned a little, but not too much. Occasionally I would notice it getting lower, but it was slow going. I got disheartened when I didn't see it any longer, until I noticed that she had moved it to her bedstand, right by where her head would be when she slept. Ah, so sweet. She liked my gift. Cut to many more months having passed. Almost 2 years since I first got her the candle, I get a bunch of angry texts late at night. You asshole. That fucking candle. It reeks in my bedroom. My magnum opus had finally been achieved. It turns out that she had brought her date home that night and put the candle on to set some ambiance. As they're getting hot and heavy, they start to smell what she described as pure sewage. It took them 5 minutes to figure out it was the candle and not some sort of sewage backup, then the smell lingered for an hour. In the end, the guy was a good sport and recognized a quality prank when he sees one, so it didn't ruin anything between them, but to have a long con end that spectacularly was just better than I could have ever hoped for. Edit. Whoa. I went to bed and woke up to this being my most upvoted comment ever. Thanks for the gold too. Someone in the comments already posted the right link, but if you haven't found that, this is the type of candle I ordered. Link. Leave an old keyboard on your desk, with the wire pushed down behind your desk. If anyone asks, tell them it wasn't working, so you had yours replaced, but that support will be by to pick it up. On April 1st, plug it into the computer in the cube beside you. When your coworker arrives, do random things, hold down the shift key while they type in their password. Lock their screen if they look away for just a moment. Hit caps lock while they're typing an email. I managed to do this to a coworker for 4 days before he started losing his shit and pulled out all the wires from his PC except power and network. It was hysterical. April Fool's Day has been moved to April 5th this year. Link. Nice try. I know an April Fool's joke when he's right. Bamboozle me once, shame on you. Bamboozle me twice, I'm a fucking moron. There's an old saying in Tennessee, I know it's in Texas, probably in Tennessee, that says, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me, you can't get fooled again. Abraham Lincoln. Slowly shaving off fragments of a walking stick to make someone think that they're growing. This one started as my project for sociology class, and the reveal was an April Fool's joke. To demonstrate the differences between girls' and guys' Facebook dynamic, I made a fake female profile. I'm a guy, so I had a baseline for comparison, with the initials AF. I grabbed a couple pictures just by googling hot party girl or something. I then added a number of friends who knew about the project, and then went through and added girls who had profile pictures with bars, parties, alcohol in them. This was in the early days of Facebook, when it was college students and you could search by city and get a whole list of everyone. Anyways, most accepted the friend requests. Only one girl asked how the fake profile knew her, and I just said I thought I met her at a party. Then I waited. Soon, AF was getting messages and friend requests from guys. It was a weird mix of messages, some vulgar, mostly generic greetings. One was a guy saying he was married but wanted to be friends. But, all guys. Guys who had never met this girl, pursuing her. It made a good comparison for my sociology class. Then, on April Fool's Day, I changed her info to explain it was an April Fool's joke, and pasted in some of the more interesting messages. Comments ranged from laughter to rage. Should have arranged a date with all the guys at the same place at the same time. Have them all bring a rose so you know who they are. Sit in the place and record the chaos. Start putting more and more caffeinated coffee in the coffee maker at work. If it's dark roast, switch it to a blend of dark, medium. Work your way to medium, then up to a light roast. If you want to go a little nuts with it, get some Death Wish coffee and put a small amount of that in. By March 31, get everyone in the office used to a nice caffeine jag on some high-octane brew. April 1. Decaf. Edit. Since no fewer than 20 of you have pointed out this is not a good idea, let me be the 21st. Don't actually do this, even though it would be awesome. Or do it in reverse. Gradually start mixing in decaf, adding like 5% each day until it's 100% decaf on March 31st and everyone's broken their caffeine addictions. Then on April 1st to back to 100% caffeinated and watch the madness. Oh my god. That may be better. The only thing that would hold me back would be that the average office worker has the BMI of a manatee, and I'm not trying to advocate for anyone to kill a bunch of their coworkers. Well, if someone dies you just don't reveal the prank. Fake a coma. You can stop faking it on April Fools and tell everybody about your prank. I've been secretly learning Russian for the past few months. On April Fool's Day I'm just going to speak Russian. Edit. A lot of people have asked what I use to learn Russian. I use Babbel. I tried Duolingo out for a bit but it doesn't teach you any grammar or anything, just a bunch of phrases. The part that was hardest for me was learning the Cyrillic alphabet, so what I did was I went to the Russian Wikipedia page for Oscar winners and transliterated the names back to the Latin alphabet. Really fun to see how they spell names like Robert De Niro. And it helped me learn the pronunciation by seeing the letters in words I was already familiar with. Bring hand moisturizer to work, and leave it somewhere like the break room. Conspicuously use it, and convince as many other people to use it as possible. On April 1st, replace it with a bottle filled with water-based lube. I put an ad on Craigslist in New York City looking for a Wookiee impersonation for a film I was making, but I listed my friend's phone number. In the instructions I wrote, if I answer just make the noise and hang up. I'll call you back if it's good enough. If you get my voicemail, follow the same procedure. Long story short, I forgot about it for 3 months and one day I was out getting wings with him when he received a call. He slammed his phone down pissed. I asked what was wrong and he proceeded to tell me about how he has been getting weird phone calls and people just making noises and hanging up. I couldn't stop laughing and finally let him know why and he was not as amused. Edit. I did not come up with this joke. Sorry I did not make that clear. Something inspired me but I can't remember what. It is still a good joke. We spent 2 months in Europe 2 summers ago and rented out the house on Airbnb to cover expenses while gone. One of the renters was a film crew that shot a documentary about a local psychopath who killed a few people. The producers needed a home setting where they could interview witnesses and people who knew the guy or victims. There are plenty of interviews of people describing the murders and how evil this person was that clearly show our living room, guest room and kitchen in the background. My wife was not involved in managing the Airbnb listing, so while I mentioned the film crew to her 2 years ago, she never asked what it was about, and I'm sure she has absolutely no idea that this footage exists. I plan on just casually coming across the documentary on April 1st and watch it with her to see her reaction. Apex Legends needs to turn on fall damage for the day. For those of you with friends with backpacks and a lot of moderately heavy items to put into them, figure out which pocket in their backpack your friend doesn't use. Get your items ready every day. Put another item inside your friend's backpack on April Fool's Day. Remove all the objects, they'll likely pick it up and it'll give them a good shock, and it'll also make them stronger too. Guten Pranken. The one I have planned for this year is to get a bunch of TV remotes that are the same as the ones my family has, and on April 1st put them all around the living room and hide the actual remote. Edit. Apparently I don't know how TV remotes work, but it could still be pretty funny to have a bunch with no batteries as they try and wonder why there's so many remotes.